or really actually, these are the new 200 series of amplifiers from Darkglass Electronics. And essentially what you have here is the Microtubes 500 and the Alpha Omega 500, but now down to 200 watts and way more stripped back and straightforward. Where you're still gonna get that thunderous and loud Darkglass tone, but now in a super compact and light package that's 200 watts and again, extremely straightforward. So yeah, just look at these guys. They're so cute, aren't they? So we're checking these two amps out today, the Alpha Omega 200 and the Microtubes 200. Now these are extremely straightforward amplifiers that basically you just go ahead, plug in, and just feel every single bit of power that comes out of it too. And it's so fun and extremely loud too. But before we dig into either of these amplifiers, and for the sake of transparency, this video is sponsored by Darkglass Electronics, and I am one of their artists as well. I've been a huge Darkglass fan forever, so whatever opinions I have, yes, it's extremely biased that I really like this company. But at the same time, this has absolutely no effect on how I feel about these amplifiers, as well as the sound or any opinions that I share as well. Everything is basically just how I feel and what sounds I got out of this. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So first things first about both of these amplifiers. Don't go into it thinking that you're gonna get the same bells and whistles exactly like the older brother counterparts, because straight up, you're not going to. Not only are these amplifiers smaller and lighter, but they're more stripped back too, to reflect that as well. And I think that's actually really cool, at least for a completely different audience where you don't want all those different bells and whistles and everything, and at least for just a more straightforward experience too. Starting with the Microtubes 200, instead of it being both the vintage Microtubes and the B3K engine that we're used to, this is just the B3K engine, so there's no vintage Microtubes at all involved with this amplifier, which kind of sucks because I absolutely love the vintage Microtube circuits, but at the same time, way more stripped back. I have to keep remembering that. On the front panel, you simply have your instrument input as well as 7 knobs. Going from left to right, up to down, you have blend as well as low mids, treble, gain, bass, high mid, and then your master volume knob, which you can actually push into mute, which I think is just a fantastic idea. Then flipping it around, you have your power input as well as 2 1/8" jacks, one of which is aux in as well as headphone out. Then you have your DI output as well as speaker output too. Now moving on to the Alpha Omega 200, it's essentially sort of the same thing, but essentially just think of this as the Alpha Omega pedal, but now it's an amplifier. Very similar to the B3K, on the front panel, there's your instrument input as well as 7 knobs. But instead of having control for both your low and high mids, there's actually just one mid knob that stays directly at 1 kilohertz. For your full controls, you have blend, bass, treble, gain, your mod knob to go between that alpha and omega side, then your mid control, and then finally that master volume knob, which lets you push it into mute. And then for the back panel, it's exactly the same as the Microtubes 200's back panel. Now for the pros on both of these amps, you get that classic Darkglass sound whether you want the B3K engine or the Alpha Omega engine in such a tiny lightweight package. Both of these amps are just 3 pounds each, which is just insane to me. And it's so simple and straightforward, and it's just so easy to use too. Then on top of that, you have that auxiliary in that you can use for practicing, as well as the headphone out that has analog cab simulation with it too. So this is just one of those things where you can have this amp and you just want, say, 1 or 2 tones for your entire set. It's so easy just to set it, forget it, and then play around with some pedals if you want to on top of that. And I absolutely love that about this amp. It's just one of those things where if you didn't want all the extra bells and whistles, you don't have to worry about it, and you just have it all right there ready to go. Now for the cons for both of these amps, there's just a couple things that I think are really missing from this. First up is the DI output. Now you're able to have your bypass signal come out, but there's no options to have post EQ or any cab simulation on top of that either, which I think just really sucks. But at the same time, I think I'm just so used to it from all their other amps as well. But I just think that having cab simulation on top of it for the DI out would have just been awesome. Next up is there's no separate volume for the drive circuit itself. Basically think of this as just one channel, and then you're able to blend between just the clean and then the dirty, and that's it. I really wish you were able to have the separate channel volume for that drive signal though. But of course, it's not a huge thing, but it's just something I really wish was there. And then finally, instead of it being the low and high mid control for the Alpha Omega, you only get that one mid knob. So again, it's not a huge deal, but it's something I think really would have made a big difference for me at least. It's something, again, I'm so used to with Darkglass's other stuff to be able to control both my low and high mids. But at the same time, having it at 1000 kilohertz works really well for the tuning of this amp. So overall, for the new 200 series of amplifiers, I think these offer a really awesome alternative for a lot of players out there that don't want all the extra features or all the extra bells and whistles. They just want 1 or 2 particular tones for their entire set, and it really works extremely well for that. Say you love the B3K engine, but you don't want to deal with all the extra stuff, get the Microtubes 200. Say you love the Alpha Omega sound, but you don't want all the extra little bells and whistles that come with the amp, go ahead and get the AO200. It works so well by itself, and it is just a more simple and straightforward version of the Microtubes and Alpha Omega 500 amplifiers. But of course, let me know what you guys think about these amps and what you think really is going to happen in the future with more small compact amps like this. While I really think there are some features missing, I don't understand how you're able to even compact all of this into such a small package as it is. It's just so cool to me either way. But thank y'all so much for watching, as always, for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, follow me on social media, all that. I truly do appreciate it, y'all. And of course, a humongous thank you to my Patreon supporters right here. Mwah, mwah. If you want to be like one of these beautiful people right here and help support the channel every single month, then go ahead and head on over to my Patreon page. And of course, no matter where in the world you are, stay safe, practice that bass, try listening to some new bands you never heard of before. This band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I saw them last weekend and they're fantastic, and I've only been listening to them for a few months. But yeah, check out some weird music because it's a lot of fun and there's some cool stuff out there. And I'll see y'all next time.